Ms. Richins, if you'd step up to the podium, please. We're on the record in 231500139, the state of Utah versus Kouri Richins.
Bad money motives, adultery, break-ins, poisonings, fights between sister-in-laws, illicit substances, tears, court hearings, and more. The Kouri Richins case has everything. No wonder people are enthralled with this woman who is accused of poisoning her husband, Eric Richins, who sadly expired last year in 2022, and they have 3 sons. And Kouri went on a book tour during her grief. She's known as the grief author of a children's book explaining how her and her boys got along after losing her husband. Well, I've paid $45 thus far for 3 recordings of court audio from one of Kouri Richins' criminal cases. She has a bunch of cases, I've learned. And I also bought more court documents because this case is changing by the day. You're about to hear what sounds like Kouri Richins sniffling, perhaps crying, the day she got arrested, May 8th, 2023, her first court appearance. Lord, I wish I had the video. Maybe we can get that at some point. Her lawyer appears on WebEx, but Kouri is there in the court in front of the judge. And she was probably shocked as all get out that her ruse was up. She was caught. Of course, she's still innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But we're going to read through these documents as well. Kouri fighting her sister-in-law, becoming so enraged that she punched Eric Richins' sister in the face and neck after his sister told her she had no rights to try and drill a hole in this safe to get to approximately less than $200,000. So that $45 I spent to get these court recordings was well worth the money in order to hear some type of emotion out of Kouri. That day she was arrested. She doesn't speak, but it's the first time viewers can hear real emotion out of her. She was pretty deadpanned and just stoic and level and even keel during her previous book tour interviews. I'll link to the playlist below where you can hear her radio interview. You can see Kouri's Good Things Utah interview. She didn't show much emotion then when talking about Eric Richins. She doesn't even call her husband's name, Eric, during those interviews. She gave the same old standard line about "my husband died unexpectedly last year, blah, blah, blah." But here in this first court appearance, she is finally crying for herself. Although I tried but couldn't get Kouri Richins' booking photo, apparently booking photos are not public in Utah, so I don't know if that'll ever come out. I did get express permission to rebroadcast these court recordings. So Kouri was in the courtroom in front of Judge Richard Mrazek, and all you can hear from her is her breathing and her sniffles. She's obviously upset. How I wish we could see the video. So she must have been in shock, Kouri was. She was in front of the prosecutor, Patricia Cassell. Kouri, the defendant, was present in court. She's in the custody of the Summit County Jail ever since May 8th, 2023. One of Kouri's attorneys is Sky Lazaro, so you will hear from her as well. You will hear the judge wish her luck, and during this initial appearance, they were trying to set Kouri's hearing, which should have been yesterday, Friday, May 19th, 2023, but it has been rescheduled to June 12th. Surprisingly, that should be a doozy. At first I thought it was going to be a short detention hearing, but no, the lawyers are going to talk about needing 2 to 3 hours for the state to put on their evidence against Kouri to determine is she a flight risk and needs to stay in jail, or can she be released on bail while awaiting her trial. They better keep her in there, because once you hear what Kouri did to her sister-in-law, Katie, she sounds dangerous, not to mention the stuff she did to her husband, the guy she took a promise before God to love, honor, and obey. I don't know if they leave that obey word in there anymore. It's been a long time since I took my vows. So the first audio you'll hear is May 8th, 2023. She's full of sniffles. And then after that, we're going to dig into the documents, what they talk about. Eric Richins did consult a divorce attorney. We're going to dig into that too. and how that went and who she is and how they discussed the divorce attorney in the following court hearings audio. So people asking, why didn't Eric get out? This man did start taking the steps to get out, and we will read through the documents about that as well.
Yes. Sounds good.
I probably could have made this work in person, but I appreciate the link. Made it a little easier.
Ms. Richins, if you'd step up to the podium, please. We're on the record in 231-500-139, the state of Utah versus Kouri Richins. Ms. Richins is present in the courtroom. You can see your attorney on the screen, Sky Lazaro, appearing by WebEx. Ms. Cassell and Mr. Bloodworth appearing on behalf of the state. We're here for initial appearance. Ms. Cassell, does the state have a motion?
We do, Your Honor. We would move to unseal the case at this time.
All right. The case was sealed, Ms. Lazaro, only until Ms. Richins was taken into custody. She's now in custody. There's no basis to seal it any longer. Any objection to unsealing it?
No, thank you.
One moment, Ms. Richins. There are several people waiting to be admitted to this hearing. All right. We are on the record in 231-500-139, State of Utah versus Kouri Richins. Ms. Richins is present in the courtroom, is being represented by Ms. Lazaro, who's present by WebEx. The state is represented today by Ms. Cassell and Mr. Bloodworth. We're here for initial appearance. Ms. Richins, there's a copy of the information showing the charges against you on the podium. That is your copy to take with you. Ms. Lazaro, do you need me to go over the information with Ms. Richins?
No, Your Honor, I'll waive formal reading. I was able to go over the information with her prior to this hearing.
Very good. Ms. Richins, you are currently being held without bail. You have the right to a detention hearing to determine whether you should continue to be held without bail or whether there are less restrictive means of ensuring the safety of the community and ensuring that you appear at future hearings. Ms. Lazaro, what is a reasonable time frame within which to schedule that detention hearing?
If you have time on that May 19th date, I think that gives us enough time to be prepared for that.
Is 2 hours enough for that hearing?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. Ms. Caselli,
I would think so as well, Your Honor.
All right. Friday, May 19, 3 p.m. for a detention hearing in this matter. Ms. Lazaro, would you like that to be in person?
Yes, I would, please.
Any objection, Ms. Caselli?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Friday, May 19, 3 p.m. Ms. Richins, I'll see you back then. I wish you the best of luck. Please follow the deputy's instructions. All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Lazaro. Nice to see you.
Yep. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, the next audio is from May 16th, 2023. That's where you'll notice Kouri isn't present for this one. She's not going to be present for the next one either. I'm wondering, is Kouri Richins going to be pulling a Letitia Stout and not showing up for a multitude of hearings? But in this audio, the issue is this motion to seal a subpoena directed towards Christina Miller's law firm, interactions between that lawyer and Eric Richins. And the motion is denied. It doesn't need to be sealed, the subpoena. The attorney was just trying to do it as a courtesy to the lawyer, but the divorce lawyer will give her records willingly. This is the new stuff I found, which is slightly different from the other court records we have gone over. According to the filed amended information first court document from May 18th, 2023, just a couple of days ago, it was in October 2020 when Eric consulted both a divorce attorney and an estate planning lawyer. When you hear the judge and attorneys start speaking about Christina Miller's law firm, I did a little digging, and I believe it's this woman, Christina Inge Miller of 2200 Park Avenue, Park City, Utah. She is a divorce attorney. Her website says Christina has been representing clients in family law matters for over 25 years. Christina's background, from cattle ranching to owning several companies, is beneficial to understanding a diverse group of issues and connecting with her clients. I wonder if we'll hear all the stuff that Eric told Christina back in 2020, October 2020, the month after he discovered all these machinations of his wife from September 2020 that we're going to get into. I wonder what he told Christina. Her website goes on to say she recognizes the emotional and financial costs of a divorce and works with her client to minimize both. Eric had a lot of assets, and I just think he wasn't ready to divorce his wife. Back in 2020, their oldest boy might have been 7. Their boys were so young. And maybe Eric feared his crazy wife, Kouri, getting primary custody, and if she's as dangerous as these court documents allege, who would want to leave their boys alone with her? If she's willing to allegedly take out her husband via poisoning and allegedly attack her sister-in-law by punching her in the face and neck, I'm wondering, what kind of mom is she? Is that why Eric met with Christina in 2020 but didn't quite follow through with the divorce? Did he fear that a judge would award Kouri primary custody, give her all this stuff, and would Kouri be the type to use the boys as pawns and never let them see their dad? I wouldn't put it past her with all these allegations. It talks about Christina and her team working together to assist clients in the legal, emotional, and financial aspects of divorce and paternity situations. Christina is known for her outstanding service to clients and her community involvement. So if this is the right lawyer, like I think it is, we're going to hear a lot eventually about what Eric told Christina. By the time you're visiting a divorce attorney, you are serious about contemplating divorce.
Counsel, good afternoon. Thank you for your flexibility today. One moment, please.
You bet. Thank you, Judge.
All right, we are on the record in 231-500-139, State versus Richins. We have Ms. Cassell on behalf of the state, Ms. Lazaro on behalf of Ms. Richins. Ms. Lazaro, are you okay going forward without Ms. Richins being present today?
Yes, for what I believe we're going to address, I think that's fine.
All right, so the issue I wanted to ask you about is there is a motion to seal a subpoena that is directed toward Christina Miller's law firm and is asking for communications and records related to interactions between Christina Miller and Eric Richins, the alleged victim in this case. Ms. Cassell, why do we need to seal that subpoena?
Your Honor, my only reason was for that was just as a courtesy to Ms. Miller, just given the press this case has had. I don't feel super strongly about it. She hasn't asked for it, and she is willing. She's a willing participant. She's going to give her records willingly. We're picking them up this afternoon. So this was just as a courtesy to Ms. Miller.
There's a rule, right, regarding when I can and can't seal things. I don't know that I can, in good conscience, seal this one. And as an aside, as a practical matter, I worry that if I do, it becomes a lightning rod for why is it sealed and what's up behind it.
That may be true.
Certainly, people are looking at the docket here. And so unless there is some other concern that you had, I don't know that I can seal that subpoena.
No, there's not. No, that's it. That's all. It's just that I just trying to protect her, but I don't have any. No, I don't have any. And I told Ms. Lazaro what it is. I told her, that we'll be uploading it into Discovery as soon as we get it.
Okay, Ms. Lazaro, anything to add on this?
No, I'll defer to you, Judge. I don't necessarily.
There may be other
feeling,
times regarding other things in this case that would be sufficiently sensitive that they would justify a temporary or permanent seal, but I don't think this is one of them, at least not yet.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No problem.
Very good. I appreciate that.
No wonder Eric visited this divorce attorney, because he had just discovered Kouri's thieving ways in September 2020. But was it because she apologized and maybe was so sweet to him? I can't believe in all this court documentation, that alleged poisoned sandwich that made Eric so sick, she reportedly put a little love note on it. Can you imagine giving your husband preparing a sandwich, a poisonous sandwich, the one where he broke out in hives and had to use an EpiPen and Benadryl and passed out afterward? Allegedly, she left that sandwich in his truck, I believe, with a love note on it. Can you imagine being a husband, getting a sandwich from your wife, there's a love note on it, and you're thinking, oh, she's so sweet to think of me, she wants me to eat, and it's a poisonous sandwich? So let's read about what she did. In this latest first amended information, we get more details than what we had before. Even though the dates are a little weird, as you'll see, and we'll talk about the sister-in-law fight, and we'll talk about Eric discovering Kouri stealing from him. So this talks about the criminal homicide and aggravated murder that on or about March 3rd of 2022 in Summit County, state of Utah, Kouri did intentionally or knowingly cause the death of Eric. So that's March 3rd. They talk about all the possession of a controlled substance. They moved to March 4th at 3:31 a.m. when emergency personnel responded to Eric Richins' home and found him unresponsive on the floor at the foot of the bed. This we already know if you've been following the case. They talk about the prenup, they talk about their home. This is the point that caused Eric to seek a divorce attorney. They go back a little bit. In September 2020, Eric Richins discovered that Kouri had obtained and spent a $250,000 home equity line of credit on their Camas home. That's where they live. She had withdrawn at least $100,000 from his bank accounts and spent in excess of $30,000 on his credit cards. Wow, that's a lot to find out at once, isn't it? Your wife has taken $380,000 from you? Not only that, they're going to get into the life insurance as well. Kouri has also been appropriating distributions made from Eric's business for his tax payments. So those stolen tax payments totaled nearly $135,000. So already we're talking more than $500,000 in thievery here. So therefore, in October 2020, Eric Richins consulted both a divorce attorney and an estate planning lawyer. Unknown to Kouri, that's when Eric changed his will. By November 3rd, 2020, he formed the Eric Richins Living Trust, and he put his sister Katie under control of that trust for the primary benefit of his 3 minor children. So he was looking out for his kids. But then, unknown to Eric, Kouri, between 2015 and 2017, purchased at least 4 life insurance policies on Eric's life, with aggregate death benefits of nearly $2 million. So if she started purchasing life insurance on him in 2015, that's only 2 years into the marriage. And we know 3 years into the marriage, she started having financial problems. But only 2 years into the marriage, by 2015, she's buying life insurance on her husband. Was she already contemplating what she allegedly did to him back then? Back at that point? So Eric didn't tell his estate planning attorney about these life insurance policies, nearly $2 million on his life, because he didn't know about them. And I agree with someone I just watched saying, yeah, maybe there should be a change in law. If someone is purchasing insurance against your life, you should be alerted to it. Then in late January 2022, Kouri caused an application to be filed for a new $100,000 life insurance policy on Eric's life. It was issued February 4th, 2022, 1 month prior to his death. And that's when a week later, on February 11th or February 12th, 2022, Kouri got the illicit fentanyl from this woman. We know this woman as CL, and we're going to find out a different acquaintance number 3, a white male, is now involved. So new characters are showing up every day. So the CL woman said that sometime in early 2022, before Eric Richins died, Kouri either called or texted her to procure some fentanyl. Cops have figured out some of it. Kouri allegedly called and texted CL several times back in January, but cops don't know the contents of those text messages because Kouri deleted the data. Kouri has deleted data from her phone from January 2nd, 2022 until shortly after Eric Richins died. So she's hiding stuff. But CL is singing like a bird. I'm not sure if that woman got a plea deal or what. So there's different acquaintances here. CL said that once Kouri asked her for the fentanyl, she contacted an acquaintance number 1, for an introduction, someone who could sell her the illicit stuff. And acquaintance number 1 has confirmed that CL asked for an introduction. Acquaintance 1 said that CL messaged her through Facebook asking to speak, and she called CL shortly afterwards. So they did find a Facebook message from CL to acquaintance 1 on February 5th, 2022, 1:37 p.m. saying, "Text me, I've got a question. Won't do it on this." So she was trying to hide, she didn't want to message her right there on Facebook. In response to CL reaching out to acquaintance 1, acquaintance 1 gave CL the phone number of a drug dealer named acquaintance 2. Cops have found on CL's phone the contact containing acquaintance 2's phone number, so they're connected. CL contacted acquaintance 2 after getting the contact information, asked for fentanyl. The phone records established she texted acquaintance 2 February 10th, 8:52 p.m., arranging to meet acquaintance 2. So CL met acquaintance 2 at the Maverick gas station in Draper on February 11th and purchased from him, so acquaintance 2 is a male, she got from him 15 to 30 round light green blue pills, which she understood to be fentanyl. CL's phone records established she called acquaintance 2 several times on February 11th between 5:19 and 6:52 p.m. They were to coordinate the specific timing of the purchase. Acquaintance 2 did confirm that he sold these pills to a friend of acquaintance 1's on 2 occasions in early 2022 at the Maverick gas station in Draper. CL confirmed she delivered the pills she bought from acquaintance 2 to Kouri in a hand-to-hand transaction in the driveway of CL's home in Heber City on either February 11th or February 12th. So Kouri's got it in hand. 3 days later, Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2022, this is the part with the love note. Kouri prepared a sandwich for Eric Richins and placed it on the seat of his truck with a love note. Shortly after consuming the sandwich, that's when Eric broke out in hives. He had difficulty breathing. Eric found his son's EpiPen and administered it to himself and slept. Eric believed that he had been poisoned. Eric told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. So this would have been at least the second time. Back in 2020 when they were vacationing in Greece, perhaps it was earlier before he found out all the September thievery and that confrontation. The first time should have been in Greece in 2020 where he drank something and he got sick, and that's when he allegedly told his sister, "I believe Kouri's trying to poison me." But you never know. Did he think he was being paranoid? Did he think, okay, maybe it was really just food poisoning or too much time in the sun or who knows what? Did he talk himself out of it? Now this, the second time, he's thinking 2022, Valentine's Day, he's like, yeah, she's really trying to poison me. Then CL said that in February 2022, Kouri told her that the pills she got before from CL weren't strong enough, and that's when she wanted some stronger, the Michael Jackson stuff. So on February 26, 2022, CL sent acquaintance 1 a Facebook message asking again to provide her with acquaintance 2's phone number. Later that day, CL contacted acquaintance 2 and arranges to buy more pills from him at the same Maverick gas station in Draper. It puts an interesting note in here. Prior to March 2022, Kouri's outstanding state and federal tax liability was $189,840. Kouri owed a hard money lender at least $1,847,760, and Kouri owed Eric Richins at least $514,346. On March 3rd, wow, that's the date of his poisoning, Kouri had a lengthy telephone call with the IRS and talked to her hard money lender. So I guess they're showing us just what a desperate state Kouri was in. I mean, this is a lot of money. This is like $2.6 million we're talking she owed. And people are wondering why she owed so much money. Hard money loans are a specific type of asset-based loans that are secured by real estate collateral. They are generally given through private investors or companies. Did she owe all this money just because of trying to flip houses unsuccessfully? I mean, was she into something else? Why was she so readily able to contact people and ask for these drugs? Was she used to that? Was she on them? Did she use any of them herself? Why did she owe so much money? Did she portray the image again of a successful flipper, real estate flipper, but stuff was going wrong? Was she trying to compete with her husband's successful business? Was she jealous of him? That's part of what I think. In my previous video about the case where you saw I went through all of Eric Richins' gorgeous, so talented, him and his business partner, just their stonework in these different homes, outside and inside homes. A successful masonry business that they launched while still in college, Eric and his business partner, Kouri Richins. I mean, they were doing gangbusters, obviously. We're talking about a lot of money here. Was Kouri jealous of the fact that she didn't have a successful business like her husband? Did she prematurely jump into this real estate flipping business and then screw it all up? During interviews with Kouri, she said again that around 9 o'clock or so on March 3rd, 2022, they were celebrating her and Eric were celebrating her, closing on a house for her business. Would it have been that same monstrosity of a huge house that Eric told her was too expensive to flip? To buy and flip at $2 million, or to build and flip at $2 million. That's when she talks about the Moscow Mule was there, and, allegedly Kouri went off being super mom because the child was having a night terror, and she didn't come back into her room until 3 a.m., 3:22 a.m. when she called 911. Can't wait to hear that phone call. On March 4th, 2022, claiming she was off in her child's room, came back to get in bed with Eric and he was cold. Claiming she left her phone in the room, but cops know that's hooey because, her lock screen was going on and off. She was sending texts. There was motion. There was activity. Now, on March 6th, 2022, Kouri arranged for a locksmith to drill a hole in Eric Richins' safe. Previously, court documents said that her sister-in-law Katie thought the safe had about $200,000. But now we get more specifics. The safe contained between $125,000 to $165,000 in cash. When Eric Richins' sister Katie suggested that Kouri did not have the authority to open Eric's safe because there was a trustee, Kouri became enraged and punched her sister-in-law in the face and neck. That's when sheriff's deputies responded and called Eric Richins' estate planning lawyer from the scene. They had to know, look, who owns this property? Here is when Kouri learned for the first time of the existence of Eric Richins' living trust. Ha ha, ha ha. She's right there in her own garage, and we're going to talk about break-ins to that garage too coming up. She's getting this locksmith to drill a hole. Eric's sister is still there, apparently. I'm not sure how many days she stayed, after Eric's death. He died technically, I guess, on the 4th. So 5th and 6th, I guess Katie was still there in the house. She didn't want to give it up. She didn't want to leave Kouri there. Kouri's probably thinking she's on Easy Street. Kouri's allegedly throwing a party at this other huge mansion. I guess that was the site of the party. That has not been cleared up and confirmed in my mind. But it would make sense because if Katie is staying at the family home and maybe family was just at that home and maybe Kouri's sneaking off having a party, but that house isn't quite done yet, so that would be a weird place to party, the huge mansion. That's when Kouri learns, Eric set up this trust. I have a note here, see the state of Utah versus Kouri Richins case. So I made myself a note to try and request that audio as well, because that's the case of assault. Kouri against Katie, her sister-in-law, a Class B misdemeanor. Kouri ended up pleading no contest. It says a plea in abeyance. So Kouri had changed her plea to no contest. A plea in abeyance is a plea agreement between the defendant and the prosecuting attorney, it allows you to plead guilty or no contest, but that plea will be held in abeyance, a fancy legal phrase for suspended, until you complete the terms of your agreement. So way back then, I'm sure her sister-in-law wishes Kouri had been arrested. Speaking of that safe that, Kouri was drilling a hole in and trying to take the money out of, apparently. In the meantime, according to ABC Utah, in recent days, this is after Kouri's been arrested, ABC Utah says someone is trying to break into Kouri Richins' home, and the judge was also trying to find out the best place for their 3 young sons to live after their mom was arrested. Since the house, that 282 Willow Court house, is owned by Eric Richins Trust. Attorneys for the Richins had met with Judge Mrazek, and even though the judge was thinking Kouri's 3 sons need to be back in that house, it makes sense, something familiar to them. They've had their life turned upside down. Can you imagine losing their young father last year and just totally being gaslit by their mom in the wake of his death? I'm sure she had all types of scenarios for them, writing a book, and planning another one. Mommy, how far away is heaven? And are you with me, Daddy? Even though she didn't include Daddy in the title, totally gaslighting, lying to these 3 boys, getting them to think, oh, Daddy died unexpectedly. Now it's the 4 of us, and let's write this children's book together, and we can grieve and heal and move on. In the meantime, she's punching her sister-in-law in the face and neck and fighting for more money. The judge has his heart in the right place. He was saying, what's best for these 3 boys, as you'll hear from this audio. But the lawyer is saying, wait a minute, there's been break-in attempts, recent break-in attempts. I thought someone is probably trying to get into that safe. Because the break-in attempts allegedly happened in the detached garage in the home. And it recently happened, I think, just this past Monday night and Tuesday night. There's a security guard stationed out there. But I'm thinking someone probably tried to get into that house because they wanted to know assets.
Well, if the market goes down, we may need to sell the house and we've got this pending ownership issue. Okay, but we can deal with that issue if we have to deal with that issue.
That's their home. Their world has been turned upside down. And if I can press pause for 45 or 60 days and make sure that I don't inadvertently contribute to that chaos, what's the harm?
I do want to point out, though, that both on Monday night and Tuesday, there were attempted break-ins to the home. We had a security guard in the home to guard it. There should be police reports on that. It does need to be maintained and guarded. Someone's trying to get into detached garage and or the home looking for something, but we do have a guard there.
We don't know if it's just some, who knows, true crime fan or opportunist who has been paying attention to this case. They've seen the house on the news. They know how much money is involved here. They know Kouri's gone. Did some willy-nilly person just try and break in to see what they can get? I don't think they got in, as far as I know. Or part of me wonders, could Kouri have had someone contacting someone like, go get this out of the garage, We don't know. But continuing with the court paperwork, they talk about phone records show that on March 9th, 2022. Now this I don't understand why it's March 9th, because that's well after 5 days after Eric's demise. But that's what it says. Phone records show on March 9th, 2022, 10:24 a.m., CL contacted an acquaintance. Now this is acquaintance number 3. CL said on that call she asked acquaintance number 3 to drive her to Draper to purchase more pills. CL said acquaintance 3 drove her to Kouri's house in Francis, where Kouri wrote CL a $1,300 check for the fentanyl. Kouri backdated the check to March 6, 2022. Acquaintance 3 confirmed that he drove CL to Kouri's house to pick up a check before driving CL to the Maverick gas station in Draper. So what's Kouri doing buying more pills? That's what I'm wondering. Was her point to poison someone else? Did she imbibe them herself? Anyway, CL said she met acquaintance 2 at the Maverick gas station in Draper after stopping at the America First Credit Union and purchased from him 15 to 30 dark round blue pills, which she understood to be fentanyl. CL's phone records established she called acquaintance 2 several times on March 9th, 2022, between 2:59 and 3:21 p.m. CL said these calls were to coordinate the specific timing of the purchase. Acquaintance 2 confirmed he sold pills to a friend of acquaintance 1's on 2 occasions in early 2022 at a Maverick gas station in Draper. Acquaintance 2 said that a white male accompanied CL on the second purchase, and acquaintance 3 is a white male. We get more details. CL said that either on March 9th or March 10th, 2022, pursuant to Kouri's instruction, she left the pills she had bought in a fire pit in the backyard of a vacant house in Midway that Kouri owned and was in the process of selling. So it's weird here, these new dates, March 9th, March 10th, 2022. I don't know. That's after Eric was gone. If these dates are correct, why was Kouri purchasing more pills? Was Kouri addicted herself, or did she have designs on Katie? Thank God Katie's still alive. That's when they talk about the autopsy and the toxicology findings. In April 2022, they discovered that Eric died from a fentanyl overdose, and we know it probably wasn't at his own hands. Although I believe that'll probably be Kouri's defense. It was 5 times the lethal dosage, and most likely ingested orally. The last audio you're about to hear from Kouri's recent criminal trial is a WebEx hearing from May 18th, 2023, when the lawyers are just trying to pin down a date for Kouri's lengthy detention hearing. So no wonder they rescheduled it. I thought it was going to be something pretty quick, but no, the state needs perhaps, maybe not as much, but they said about 3 hours to put on their evidence. So they have a mountain of evidence against Kouri, born April 20th, 1990.
Hello, Judge.
We're on the record in 231-500-139, State of Utah versus Kouri Richins. Ms. Cassell on behalf of the state, Ms. Lazaro on behalf of Kouri Richins. Ms. Richins is not present. Ms. Lazaro, is that agreeable?
That is.
Okay. We're here on the defendant's motion to continue the detention hearing that is scheduled for tomorrow, May 19. The state stipulates to the motion. The court is granting the motion. The purpose of today's WebEx hearing is to pick a new date that is agreeable and workable for both the defendant and the state to conduct that detention hearing. Ms. Cassell, from the state's perspective, how much time do we need?
We were thinking about 3 hours, Judge. I think at least we think that's sufficient, and I don't know if it's I don't know that that's necessarily how much time we would need to put on our evidence, but we were contemplating that would be our evidence in the defendant's evidence.
Ms. Lazaro, does 3 hours sound about right?
I think so.
How quickly do you want to do it, Ms. Lazaro?
I probably can't do it before the 9th. I think I'm still waiting for some stuff, I think, from the state, and then I have a trial scheduled the 30th through the 2nd, so realistically, that's kind of where I'm at.
Do you want to do it on the 9th, or do you want to do it the week after?
I could do it on the 9th, or the week. I'm out of town on the 16th.
Okay.
I don't know if you have. Is it going to be a Friday? Is that what you're thinking?
Not necessarily. I'm going to have to move some things no matter when we do it, but that's fine. Brittany, how many things would we have to move on the afternoon of the 9th? Several. Or how about the morning of June 12th? Is that workable?
Let me look.
What's that?
Yeah, I have some things that I can get coverage for. They're not anything substantive. I mean, it's not like this. But I think any day I do, that's probably the reality. So The 12th is fine with me.
How many things do we currently have scheduled on the 9th? Okay. The look on Brittany's face says that the 9th is a bad idea. So, Ms.
Okay.
Cassell, can
Fair
you
enough.
make the morning of the 12th work?
We can. Yeah, no problem.
Is 8:30 a.m. workable?
Yeah, whenever the court wants to start is fine with me.
That's fine.
Okay. We will continue the detention hearing in this matter to 8:30 a.m. on Monday, June 12, in person.
Great.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
counsel.
both.
Thank you. Let me know if anything comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com.
So we'll see what happens with that hearing, but this case is a doozy. My goodness. Romans 15:5-6. May the God who gives endurance and encouragement give you the same attitude of mind toward each other that Christ Jesus had, so that with one mind and one voice you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. So I'll keep buying court documents and audio, see what I can get. ABC4 Utah is the designated pool reporter news station that will be in court for her hearing. I'm not sure if any others will be in there as well, but we look forward to, I've contacted the reporter. We look forward to sharing that video. From that day, it should be a lot of it. I hope they get the whole raw 3-hour hearing, all the footage. I don't think there will be a WebEx. As I understand it today, I wish there were. You know, Utah can be a little wonky. We can't get the booking photos. Different cases, we can't see the defendants and, everything. We love just seeing all of it ourselves. We love hearing the audio, seeing the video. Those are the best cases where the public has a right to know and can see it themselves, but not all states work that way. So we'll do the best we can to get all the information in this case and make sure Eric Richins gets his justice and his family, those who loved him, his boys. Imagine his life cut so short unknowingly. And again, he knew about this starting perhaps from 2020, and maybe he talked himself out of it. Maybe he just would not believe. Maybe he couldn't rationally. He did believe it to a point that Kouri was allegedly attempting to poison him. Maybe she so sweetly apologized to him, and maybe he thought, okay, she's not really trying to do this to me. Maybe she did a Jekyll and Hyde. Maybe she was totally sweet. Maybe something took over her personality, her desperation, and that's why people don't believe criminals go to the lengths they go to, because if they've never done it before, you wouldn't expect them to go these lengths to take out their own husband. But he needs justice. He needs justice. I will always say he's the victim. People shouldn't come down hard on him. Remember that dentist in Colorado who poisoned his wife with smoothies? Of course, you will see some people commenting, oh, why didn't she leave the first time? Why would she ever accept a drink from him? And of course, those are rational questions, but sometimes when the roles are reversed, I feel like sometimes people come down worse on him, Eric, as a victim. Like, oh, why didn't he just leave right away? Well, he was taking the steps, but he just didn't go through with it, unfortunately. But we'll pray for his boy's safety, his sister-in-law's safety, his family's safety, and there's so much going on with this case. We'll just keep going and continue it. Continue the research, continue buying all the court documents and audio I can, and we'll go from there. Thank you for watching.